Hi, everyone. My name is Shahla Hebets. I'm the CEO and founder of Think Media Consulting and the author of What's Working Now, You-Centric Marketing. And I am thrilled to be participating in SciComm. Thank you all for being here today. Today, I'm going to share with you my thoughts and presentation entitled, Let's Get Personal. Everything is personal. We look at life through our own unique lens. From the brands that we buy to the information we consume, we engage with what matters to us. If you want to connect with someone, anyone really, you need to know what they value. That's how you gain their attention. And that is why advertising has become so much more personalized today. We all want a personal experience, and brands know this. But science, well, that's a different story. Science isn't often referred to as approachable. It isn't personal, peer-reviewed, factual, evidence-based data and information. How can that possibly speak to our values? But it can. Today, I'm going to give you some real-world examples of how even science can be personal. So let's start in the beginning. In the mid-1800s, scientists discovered a link between germs and disease. And at the time, Americans were essentially living in filth. There wasn't great access to running water or sewage, and everything was just dirty. And scientists were struggling with how to bridge this gap between what they knew from the facts and how to communicate that to the public at large so that there would be an awareness about personal hygiene and cleanliness. It wasn't until American brands stepped in that things started to shift. It began with advertising on water filters, but it quickly moved to things like furniture. Velvet chairs were replaced by wood and wicker furniture because it was easier to clean. Then came Lysol, followed by Listerine. All of these brands used basically the same approach. They employed drawings and pictures and charts to make the information more digestible and to personalize it. But they also focused on their customers' values, namely their health. Brands were the impetus that really brought about the public awareness of germs and disease and personal hygiene by making it personal. But that's just one example. Now let's look at the environmental science. For years, we've heard about the looming climate crisis and greenhouse gases and their negative impact. And even though the science was evident, public awareness really hadn't changed. The perceptions really weren't moving the needle. And it wasn't until purpose-driven brands started really getting into the fold and doing things in a different way that we started to see some change. Purpose-driven brands understood that in order to reach the masses, they had to engage in storytelling. Four Oceans is a great example. They started with these cute bracelets that were focusing on an individual marine life, like the great shark as an example, or the great white shark. They told us the story of the great white shark, their habitat, their attributes, their characteristics. They let us know the negative impacts that were happening as a result of climate change, and they made us care. Now, they could have shared data and statistics and there's tons of that in the scientific field, but they didn't do that. They wanted to focus on what matters. So they moved away from those studies and the research and all the data points, and instead they focused on the heart. And what's more personal than that? Now, it's not just those examples. Google is another great example. The science behind Google and their algorithms is something to behold. It is science personified. But yet they never really talk about that. They don't promote that. Instead, what do? Well, their Super Bowl ad is a perfect example. Last year's Super Bowl, Google ran an ad about a widower who was using Google products to store and share memories of his departed wife. So it was images of him looking at videos and audio files and pictures, really just remembering his most cherished occasions with his wife. And that really connected with the customer because it tapped into yet another value, the idea of family, the value of family. And that's what really connected with the customer. The customer understood that Google has the opportunity to maintain my most precious memories. So it was basically algorithm or love. But Google understands, probably more than most brands, what really matters. They know how important it is to make it personal. And it's really just that simple. In all of these examples, personalization increased the interest and the public awareness tenfold by connecting to the audience's values. It increased public health. It improved environmental knowledge and advocacy, and a recognition of what's truly important. The science community at large can do the exact same thing. When we look at the fields of study and we realize that so many of these fields tap into our core values, then we know that we can do better in expanding the world of science. We can tap into core values like achievement, equality, progress, change, individualism, and knowledge. These are personal values that we all hold dear. And science has a relationship with each one of them. But to capitalize on this, we really need to adjust our mindset. As this deck has shown, science really is personal if we think about it with the right context. I am so thrilled to have joined you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this presentation. If you have any questions, comments, or would just like to chat, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love receiving email, and it's included in the slide for your use. Thank you so much.